Hello, this is Jackie with Panama Relocation Tours. Thank you for joining us for Wednesday night Move to Panama Q&A or question and answer. I'm so glad you're here to join us for this live stream. We'll get started in just a little bit. I've got a couple of announcements to make before we get started, and that'll give time for more people to come in because a lot of times people don't come in till the last couple of minutes. So my name's Jackie, the owner of Panama Relocation Tours since 2010. We've been offering all-inclusive tours that take you across Panama and show you amazing places to live, while we're also teaching you all the things you need to know to have a smooth move. You can get more information about that on our website at PanamaRelocationTours.com. Just click on the Tours tab and you'll see more information. Speaking of tours, some of my big announcements that I had for you is that our January and February of 2025, next year, we had 3 or 4 tours in each one of those months, and they were already sold out for next year. So today we added 2 more tours. I have a tour for, let me check the dates, for January 31st through February 7th. And then one for February 28th through March the 7th. So now we have some tours in the early part of 2025 available again. And we still have, I think, 4 more openings available in 2024 for the October 25th tour. So if you're interested in that tour, send an email to info@PanamaRelocationTours.com, or you can just sign up for it on our website. One of the other announcements, 2 other announcements that I wanted to make is, here in Panama, yes, we get the news about what's happening in other places in the world. So I've seen the devastation of the hurricane that went through Florida and Tennessee and North Carolina and just so many places there. And just want you to know that, our thoughts and prayers are going out to all the people that are in those affected areas. It's so sad to see what's happening, and I know it's going to take a long time to get back to normal, but I hope you can get back to normal as soon as possible. One of the big reasons that I picked moving to Panama, because I looked at some other countries also, one of the reasons I picked Panama is because it doesn't have hurricanes or tornadoes. It's too far south, so it's out of the hurricane belt. So when you're looking for a place to move to and you want to not be around hurricanes anymore, make sure you consider Panama as a place to move to. And then just one more announcement before I get to your questions. For those of you that have been on our live stream before, you know that for the last 4 years, since 2020, I've been working on getting a billing company to come to Panama that would handle direct billing for some of the hospitals here in Panama, because the whole time I've lived here, even if you had insurance that says it covers you in Panama, when you show your insurance card at the hospital, they say, no, we don't take that. So you'd have to pay up front, and then you'd have to file your own claim and hope you got reimbursed. So I knew that I discovered when I had COVID, and I had to pay $15,000 to the hospital and file my own claim. That's when I discovered that situation. I really wasn't aware of it prior to that. I mean, it's serious because some of the bills are, $10, $15, $20, $40,000 that you might have to pay at a private hospital. So I had to find a solution, and after 4 years of searching, it's finally happening. So I think I let you know previously that in David, on the far western side of Panama, Hospital Chiriquí, which is the best hospital in Chiriquí, they now accept most U.S. insurances, including Medicare Advantage, TRICARE, FMP, or the Foreign Medical Program. So that's available at Hospital Chiriquí. So now you just show your card and you don't have to prepay. The billing company takes care of it. We just added another hospital in Panama City. It's called Hospital Santa Fe, which is an excellent hospital. Once again, they take all of the U.S. insurances, even travel insurance, TRICARE, all those VA insurance for the FMP. So those are all available in Panama City and in Hospital Chiriquí. Soon we'll be adding some other hospitals throughout the country. And as we do, then I'll let you know which countries, which hospitals that we're going to be, that they'll have direct billing available. So I see that where people are starting to pour in now finally. So let me tell you how it works with this Q&A. So I'm not able to click on your name and unmute it whenever you have a question. What you're going to have to do is type it into the chat window, and you have to put 3 question marks in front of it. Otherwise, I won't know that it's a question. So I'm going to pop one of them up on the screen right now. So whenever you ask a question, I'll pop it up on the screen just like this, and I'll answer it. Now, a lot of you are going to have questions, and they're going to scroll up on that screen so fast that I won't be able to get to all of them as quickly as I would like to. So if it scrolls up off the screen, you may have to type it in a second or even a third time for me to be able to get to it. But now you can type your questions into the chat window. I'll pop them up on the screen, and I'll answer it. So Mark wants to know, are you getting the hospital in Chitre added? Yes, we're going to be getting the new San Fernando hospital. It's called Clínica Especial in Azuara. That's through the San Fernando hospital. That should be added by the end of October. Does Panama have AAA throughout the country? So I'm not sure what you mean by AAA. You're going to have to ask the question a little bit more. Keep in mind, I've not lived in the United States since 2010. So all these acronyms and things, I'm not real familiar with different things and how they work in other places. So you're going to have to spell it out for me, please. So Louisa says, if I'm not going to be driving, can I just keep my U.S. driver's license? So whether you're driving or not driving, you can keep your U.S. driver's license. However, in Panama, you can only drive with your foreign license for the first 90 days that you're in Panama. So even though you have your driver's license, you won't be able to drive in Panama after the first 90 days. Sabrina wants to know, what is the best Panama location that has housing with a great view of beaches with 2 to 3 bedrooms for $1,200 or less? So, there's, to get the beach views, 2 to 3 bedroom for $1,200 or less, it's unlikely that you might be able to find that in Gorgona or some parts of San Carlos. The other area that you should certainly check out would be the Azuara, the beach communities between Chitre and Pedesi. Actually, Pedesi is too expensive. The beach communities between Chitre and Las Tablas, there are several different beach communities where you could get something in that price range. Megan wants to know, we've been hearing about the new president. What do Panamanians say? Panamanians love the new president. And most expats really like me. I love the new president also, so much better than the president we had before. Richard said, I'm planning to move to Panama, but I'm not retired and I would like to start a business. What are your recommendations? So you can definitely move to Panama and start a business. You just need to make sure that you get the right visa that allows you to do that. Because if you're going to start a business, you need to get a work permit, and only certain visas allow you to get a work permit. What I'd suggest you do is go to our website at Panama Relocation Tours, and in the upper right-hand corner is a search feature. Type in visa options, and it will have a list of all the different kind of visa options to show you what you might be able to get. So we have Medicare, Aetna, and TRICARE. Do we need to convert to a Medicare Advantage plan, even if the doctor and hospital we use accepts the other two? So, I'm not an expert on Medicare Advantage. If you have Aetna, that's accepted here in Panama. If you have TRICARE, that's accepted in Panama at the 2 hospitals that I just mentioned, at Hospital Chirigui and Hospital Santa Fe. Regular Medicare, you cannot use that in Panama. They won't accept it anywhere. So if you can get by with just Aetna and TRICARE, that would work. But I would really suggest that you talk to one of our Medicare Advantage experts, and they can give you more information about it. How many times do you think we have to visit Panama before making a decision on moving there? Another question, when we visit Panama for the first time, can we drive even as a tourist? So, and, everything, it's different for every single person. The very first time I came to Panama, I was 90% sure that this is where I wanted to move to, but I still had a list of countries that I wanted to go visit before I made my final decision. I visited about 10 countries before I decided to move to Panama. And after I saw those other countries, then I knew without a doubt that Panama was where I wanted to move to. As a tourist, you'll be able to drive for the first 90 days on your foreign license, and you can't drive after that. Parker wants to know, can you explain more about the options for the friendly nations? Does it have to be a real business? So if you're talking about the friendly nation visa by setting up a corporation that issues you a labor contract, you do have to have a real corporation. You definitely have to have that. But it doesn't have to be necessarily a real brick and mortar kind of a business that's in Panama. It could be an online business. It could be that you're managing your investments in another country. That could be considered a business. A consultant, any of those things. You just have to give it a title. Joe wants to know, is Blue Cross Blue Shield accepted? Yes, Blue Cross Blue Shield is accepted. And if you go to Hospital Cherokee or Hospital Santa Fe, you just show your card. You don't have to prepay. And Yo wants to know, is there a price and or content difference between buying the PRT guide separately now or getting it later included in the tour? So if you come on a Panama relocation tour, you get free access to the online Panama relocation guide after the tour. So it doesn't cost you anything. If you buy the guide right now, it's going to cost you $595. Sometimes we have a special, but nothing planned right now. And then if you decide to go on a tour later, you'll get a $200 discount. Kevin wants to know, how do we know Avaya de Anton Suites long-term rates when they list price by the per night? So you'd have to contact them. They probably have a website, and you can just contact them on their website to see if they offer some kind of a long-term special. DG wants to know, what are your thoughts about El Cangrejo, the walkable fondas, nightlifes? So El Cangrejo, I think, is a really great area if you don't mind noise. It's very noisy in El Cangrejo, in my opinion. For that reason, I could not live there. Between all the little bars that are there that are going to have live music till 4 o'clock in the morning, the Panama hotel that has live music till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Then there's Iglesia del Carmen it's a church that has the bells going off at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then at noon, and then again at 5 o'clock. It seems like they're going off like every 3 hours. So El Cangrejo is a beautiful place. It's very walkable, but it's noisy. If you're going to live there, you need to request. You need to look for an apartment that has noise canceling windows. If you don't get noise canceling windows, you're going to hear that noise all night long. So keep that in mind. And Denny wants to know, when you receive word that your Panama Jubilado approval, must you get over there right away? So Denny, no, once your permanent visa is ready, you don't have to come right away. Your attorney will pick up the resolution that says that your permanent visa was approved. Then you need to come within a year of it being approved for you to actually get the visa card. Whoop, clicked on one without question mark. Sorry about that. I do telehealth therapy in the U.S. Is that an offered mental health services in Panama? So Sabrina, you would not be able to offer any kind of medical services in Panama at all, even through telemedicine, because that's a protected profession. We have an article on our website called The Professional Visa, so search for that. It has a link to all of the protected professions. Anything to do with counseling, healthcare, or anything, it can only be performed by Panamanians. Even if you're doing telemedicine, you can't do that. Somebody would turn you in, believe me, and you could end up being deported, so you don't want that to happen. Is there a discount on the online guide if you decide to do a private tour? So there's not a discount on the online guide right now. And you have to buy the guide to be able to get access to who the private tour guides are. Emery wants to know, are we entitled to the PRT guide after the tour fees are paid within a month of the tour. You get the online guide immediately, like the very last day of your tour. That's when you get the online guide. You also get access to our private Facebook group where I offer ongoing support and answer questions like this all day, every day. Visa suggestion for 6 months in Panama and 6 months in the U.S. So if you're only going to be in Panama for 6 months and you don't care about the Jubilado discounts, which are 25% off airfare, 20% off restaurants, half price at movie theaters, 20% off medications. If you don't care about any of those discounts, you don't even need to get a visa, because a U.S. citizen can stay in Panama for 180 days without a visa. But if you want to get those discounts, you need to get a visa. How do we find out which hotels offer long-term rentals in the major expat Panamanian cities? So I recently did a big search about that. And so there's only, they're called apartment hotels or hotel apartments or apartment hotels. And I did a big search about that, and I have 20 of them listed in the online Panama relocation guide. So look in there. Jackie, is GEHA insurance accepted in Panama? If so, same high option coverage. So yes, GEHA is accepted with no prepayment. It's direct billing if you go to Hospital Cherokee or if you go to Hospital Santa Fe. If you go to a different hospital, you're going to have to prepay up front and then file your own claim. We're going to be adding more hospitals in October, and I'll let everybody know what the other hospitals are. But for right now, you're limited to those two, one on the western side and one in Panama City. I have the guide. Does the $200 discount apply to private tours? The discount only applies to the group tours. It does not apply to private tours. Jade wants to know, do visitors still have to show $1,000 cash when coming into Panama or demonstrate that they have it? So if you're coming in through the land borders, like through Costa Rica, then you're going to have to show the cash. If you come in through the airport, then you don't. David wants to know, now that Panama City is home to a couple cruise ships, are there plans for Panama City to become more of a touristy city? Panama is already a touristy city. It has been all along. I say more tourists go to Panama City than any other area in Panama. So Louisa says, if I publish a book in the U.S. while living in Panama, is that income that needs to be reported considered work, given that, so if you sell the book only in the United States, like on Amazon, then you don't have to report that income to Panama. But if you set up a little booth someplace and you're selling your book in Panama, then you sold it in Panama and you have to report the income and pay taxes in Panama. Mark wants to know, what's the name of the insurance company you used before you turned 65? So, I've used a lot. I've changed insurances a lot before I turned 65. I had Worldwide Medical at one point, which is a Panama company. I had IMG. You definitely don't want to go with them. They're terrible. I've also had Family Medical Plan, which is a Panama insurance. But after turning 65, then I got Medicare Advantage. And it's especially good with Medicare Advantage because now I can use it for urgent care emergencies without prepayment. Sabrina says, one more question about telehealth therapy. Would it still be a violation if I'm only providing services to my U.S. clients and not Panamanians? It would still be a violation if you're providing service to anybody that's in Panama, whether it's a U.S. client or a Panamanian client. You absolutely cannot do it. You could get in big, big trouble, lose your visa, get deported. So you don't want to do that here. What paperwork do I need to bring a cat into Panama? So there's quite a bit of paperwork you're going to need, and we actually have an article about that on our website. So if you go to Panama Relocation Tours, type in bringing a pet to Panama, and it has a step-by-step details. It's a time-sensitive process, so make sure you read that article. Peter wants to know, a pensionado visa and a business in Panama. I know others with a worker's permit will be required to do most of the work, but I'm wondering what work of an owner of a business is allowed to do for it. So Peter, what you're allowed to do, if you have a pensionado visa and you want to start a business in Panama, what you're allowed to do is you're allowed to sit there and watch other people work. If, let's say you had a restaurant, you can't take orders, you can't take money, you can't cook in the kitchen, you can't run the cash register, you can't make announcements about the live band that's going to be playing, can't do any of those things. So all you can do is hire someone else to do it. The better plan would be to get a visa that allows you to get a work permit, because what if in your business it was big Friday night, something big was supposed to happen, you had 2 employees that called in sick, you need to fill in for them, but you can't because you don't have a work permit. So you need to get a work permit. Crystal says, how do you choose which Medicare Advantage program to pick? So what you need to do is you need to work with a Medicare Advantage expert to help you decide which one to pick, because there's so many different variables involved in Medicare Advantage. If you go to our website, we have an article. It's called The Dirty Little Secrets of Using Insurance in Panama. And in that article, I have the name of one. We have 4 different Medicare Advantage agents that we work with. But if you call that guy, his name is Jerry, he'll get a little bit of information. Either here, he's going to help you directly, or he'll refer you to one of the other people that we work with. By the way, if you use any of these people to, get a Medicare Advantage or insurance, I get no kickbacks, I get no commissions. If you use our immigration attorneys, I get no kickbacks, I get no commissions. Same thing with our international movers, real estate agents, any of those things. I refer them to you because I know they're going to do a good job. And some of them offered to give me a kickback. They said, well, I'll give you $50 for every new client we get. I said, I don't want any money. I just want you to take care of my people. So Kenneth wants to know, what does the white line refer to in real estate listings? I've also seen other colors as well. So white line refers to the appliances like the refrigerator, stove, sometimes the dishwasher if you're lucky. So that's what it refers to. Sometimes it also includes a washer and dryer, but not always. So you need to be specific about which white line items are included. What paperwork is required for the Golden Visa? So for the Golden Visa, you have, first thing you're going to need is you're going to need your criminal report, FBI, RCMP, whichever country you come from, your criminal report, and it needs to be clean. The other thing that you're going to need is to make the financial requirements, and it just changed for the Golden Visa. For real estate, it's $500,000 purchase in real estate. And if you want to just do an investment into a 3-year CD at a Panama bank, they now require $750,000. You are aware that the Friendly Nation visa is very similar to the Golden Visa. However, the Friendly Nation visa only requires a $200,000 investment in real estate or $200,000 investment into a 3-year CD. Eliza says, I have another question. Now, those are dollar signs, not question marks. Good thing I clicked on it anyway. I have another question. We are in the works of setting a tour for April 2025. And after doing lots of research, we really want to check out Trujillo. How can we make that part of our tour? So it's not going to be part of the 6-day, 7-night all-inclusive tour. We don't go to Trujillo. What you'll have to do is you'll have to go there after your tour. And we do have some private drivers that are available in Boquete. The tour ends in Boquete. They can take you to that area, or we can give you instructions on how to take the bus there, which would be like $10, so much cheaper. How much are property taxes in Panama City? So I don't have if you buy something that's less than $125,000, then you're not going to have property taxes at all. Between $125,000, I think it's $500,000, it's 0.5. And then a 750,000 and up is going to go to like 1%. I don't have the exact numbers on that, but we do have the detailed information about property taxes in our online Panama relocation guide. So if you log into there, just type in property taxes and it'll take you to the list of what the schedule is. There seems to be a lot more interest in Rio recently. Is it still affordable to live there? Can I get a small house near the beach for $1,000? So yeah, there's more interest because we did that video. So people are curious. However, some people go there and they say, look, looks great, but it's not for me. It's a little bit too isolated. Other people go there and they say, this is just what I've been looking for my whole life. And I finally found it. So just because there's interest in it doesn't mean that people are moving there. Yes, you can still get a small house for $1,000 a month or less there. And instead of being right on the beach, you might want to be up a little bit more so you have that beautiful ocean view, but the weather's just a little bit cooler. Can you recommend a moving company from Austin to Texas and Panama? I can. We have several different moving companies that we work with. They're all listed in our online guide, but one that's moved several people from Austin recently is called MexicoMovingCompany.com. MexicoMovingCompany.com. They used to just do moves to Mexico, but for the last 10 years, they've been doing moves to Panama too. So should I get a Medicare HMO or PPO? Jim, I'm sorry, but I can't answer that question. It's a question for an experienced Medicare Advantage agent. And if you go to our website and look at the article that says Dirty Little Secrets of Using Insurance in Panama, we have someone listed there that he's been in the Medicare insurance business for 24 years. He can answer that question for you. By the way, if any of you got on a little bit late and you're wondering, how can I ask a question? You have to type it into the chat window and put 3 question marks in front of it, and I'll click on it as fast as I can. But if it scrolls up off the screen before I get to it, you might have to type it in a second time for me to be able to see it. So Deborah wants to know, does Amazon deliver across Panama like Boquete? Amazon does not. There's no mail delivery to your house anywhere in Panama. What you have to do is set up an account with a mail forwarding company. They're going to give you an address in Florida. So when you order something from Amazon, it's sent to Florida. Then from Florida, it's flown to Panama to the store where you've set up your account. Like just yesterday, I got an email from the place that I have my account with. They said, you have some new packages. So I had to drive there and pick it up, but there's not mail delivery to your house. If you learn more about mail forwarding services, go to our website and in the upper right-hand corner, type in Amazon, and it'll tell you all about how to get Amazon orders, Walmart orders, birthday presents, any other packages that you might want to get. What paperwork is required for the investment golden visa? So you just asked that question. Maybe I clicked on it again. So you need money and you need your criminal report. That's what you need. How often does the power go off in Panama City? So I have never lived in Panama City, but I visited Panama City a lot. When I visited, I've never had the power go off. And the reason for that is the power might go off, but most of the buildings there are high-rise buildings and they all have a generator. So even if the power goes off in a split second, the generator is going to kick on so you won't even notice it. I've heard you need to be careful about living in the red zone, less desirable areas. Would that be recommended way to research that? So, from what I understand, a red zone is where the prostitutes are. And yeah, I don't think it would be good to be living where the prostitutes are. And where they are, I don't know, or how you can research that, I don't know. Are there any quiet neighbors in the vicinity of Panama City, like Amador? If you live in Panama City, things are going to be a little bit more noisy. Probably the most quiet places to live in Panama City would be Clayton is one area. Panama Pacifica would be another area that would be a little bit more quiet, and perhaps the San Francisco area. Those would be the most quiet places. But Amador, not so much, because that's a big tourist area. The cruise ships come in, lots of tourists all weekend long with loud music, so it wouldn't be quiet. What's the best way to move 2 dogs from Georgia, not wanting them in cargo or in the bowels of a plane? So if you don't want them, if they don't fit underneath the seat in front of you, then and you don't want to put them in cargo, then your only choice is to charter a flight. And there is a company that it's about $7,500 to fly from Florida. So you'd have to drive to Florida to Panama, and your dogs don't even have to be in a crate. They can just be on a leash right in the cabin with you. If you send an email to info@Panama Relocation Tours, I can give you some more information about that. What does the needed health certificate entail? Who do we go for that? So the health certificate is something that your immigration attorney will arrange. Surprisingly, sometimes you don't even have to see a doctor. They're going to ask you some questions like, do you have HIV? What chronic diseases do you have, or things like that. And so that's about all it is. You might see a doctor, they're going to ask the same things. Is it advisable to register with the U.S. Embassy in Panama City in case of emergency alerts or advisories? So if you want to, you could certainly register with Embassy in Panama City. However, throughout Panama and each one of the provinces, there's a liaison for the Canadian Embassy. There's a liaison for the U.S. Embassy and all the other embassies. So if there's any alerts that come out, they're going to post it all over the Facebook pages of the different towns. So even if you don't register, you're still going to get that news. John wants to know, can I take my documents for the pensionado visa to the Panama consulate to get authenticated instead of getting them apostilled? Yes, you can. And we actually advise that you do that because an apostille can take 3 or 4 months. But if you walk into the Panama consulate, 30 minutes later, you're going to be walking out with authenticated documents. So it's a much faster way to go. If you do get your documents authenticated, there's one additional step that you have to do in Panama City, but your attorney will take care of that for you. Any documents that are authenticated at the Panama consulate have to be re-authenticated at the Ministry of Foreign Relations in Panama City. Like I said, your attorney will take care of that. You don't even worry about it. So Bill says, thinking of being a snowbird, or rentals storage units available to store a compact car. So you would not want to do that. You would not want to store a compact car because when you came back, it would be full of mold, a lot of mold. So if you want to have a car while you're here, you could rent one, or you could buy one and then sell it whenever you leave. But you don't want to put a car in storage. I've seen pictures of people that have done that, and literally it's like you just want to catch it on fire. It's so bad. Louisa says, are the apartments and homes outside of Panama City that I've listed don't have hot water? Are you allowed to install a water heater? So some of the homes, and usually if it's less than $600 a month, it's not going to have a water heater. Or if it's more in the coastal areas, they don't have hot water because it's so warm outside already. You can. Some landlords will let you install a water heater. And you might want to put one in the shower and put one by the sink instead of having something that's going to be for the kitchen sink, instead of having one for the whole house. Celeste says, I canceled my Santa Fe hospital today. I just wrote a statement how I can stay at Santa Fe because they take Blue Cross Blue Shield. Yeah, good. Yeah, if you had Santa Fe insurance, you don't really need it anymore because Blue Cross Blue Shield is so much better. And as you know, Celeste, if you just go to see a doctor in Panama City, it might be $20, or Blue Cross Blue Shield is going to cover everything. So you don't need the Santa Fe insurance anymore. It saves you money. Can you recommend a good moving company? So the company that I recommend would be Mexico Moving Company. They can move from anywhere in the world to Panama. What time of year is the best for finding great rentals in the 3Bs, Bueno, Bonita? So you want to avoid high season. So high season, Ernie, is going to start usually about the middle of December till about the middle of April. That's high season. There's going to be less inventory and the prices are going to be higher. So if you're looking for a great rental, don't come to look during that time frame. Yo wants to know, if I stay on for a couple of months after my tour, is there anything I could be doing towards my pensionado visa while I'm still there? If you bring all of your documents for getting your pensionado visa, or if you mail them to your attorney before you get here, then right after your tour, you could apply for your pensionado visa. We have immigration attorneys in David, in Panama City, and in Chitre. So regardless of which area we're going to go to, they can help you. David said, what is the difference between an apartment and apartment hotel? Is there a list of apartment hotels in Panama City? So an apartment hotel is like a hotel room, except it's an apartment. We did an interview with someone named Diane a couple of weeks ago. If you search through our YouTube channel, look for the one that says, Why Panama? And Diane mentioned that she lives in an apartment hotel. What that means is that it's completely furnished, pots, pans, silverware, coffee maker, everything comes with it, but also all your utilities are included. She has maid service once a week. They bring her breakfast in the morning. It's included. So everything's included in an apartment hotel. Contrast that with if you just get an apartment in Panama City. Most of those are going to say, well, the electricity is not included, internet's not included, cable TV is not included. So you've got to go and get those things in your name. It may be cheaper to get an apartment and just pay for each one of those things. But for the convenience of it, sometimes an apartment hotel, and there's some very nice apartment hotels, is just pay one flat fee and everything's included. Make sure you watch the replay of that interview with Diane that moved to Panama City, and you can see in the background, you can see what a beautiful, beautiful apartment hotel that she lives in. So Eddie wants to know, when in Panama applying for a pensionado visa before the permanent residency, is there a Panama insurance company to get insurance through that accepts everywhere in Panama without the need to prepay? So yes, there's a couple of different insurances. It just depends on if you qualify. And if you go to our website, Panama Relocation Tours, upper right-hand corner, search health insurance options. Don't click on the one that's a live stream, click on the other one. And it has a list of all the different health insurance options, including a brochure that shows what's included, what the cost is going to be. For example, family medical plan, if you're between 60 and 69, they're $117 a month, and you can see what it includes. So you can definitely get one of those insurances. However, if you have pre-existing conditions, many of them won't write a new policy. If you're over 74, many of them won't write a new policy. The only exception is going to be Hospital Santa Fe. They have their own insurance with no age restrictions. However, they also exclude any pre-existing conditions. So we have information about that and all the other insurances in that article. Check it out. Jabber says, what are the general rules for service dogs in Panama? So the general rules for service dogs in Panama is that most places, even if you have a dog and it has a little vest on that says service dog, if the business says no pets allowed, they're not going to let the service dog in. If it's a restaurant, they may have an outdoor seating area where you can sit, but like taking your dog into the grocery store or department store or the mall, you're not going to be able to do that. Can I move to Panama with no hat? I heard it's a little bit prohibited, but I don't have any hats. Okay, so you don't need any hats in Panama, if I understand the question correctly. Anthony wants to know, are scooters popular for riding around for a month between Boquete and Volcan, Bogaba? Do you think they are safe and available to rent? So no, I don't think a scooter would be safe. I think most scooters only go like 40 miles an hour. The other thing is, every single day, if you look on the news in Panama, you see some motorcyclist that was run over by a car. So I don't think a scooter is a good way to go. The other problem is the rainy season, which we're in right now. So it might be blue skies and sunshine in the morning, but by 2 o'clock, it's clouding up. By 3 o'clock, it's usually raining. So I wouldn't want to be on a scooter when it's pouring down rain. And let's see, clicked on the wrong one. Are apartment hotels affordable? So like I said, in our online Panama relocation guide, I had a list of 20 apartment hotels that are in Panama City and in other places. And some of them, you know, with all things included and everything, are like $700, $800 a month. Some of them are $1,000, $1,200. Some of them are $3,000 a month if you want all the bells and whistles. So there are affordable options. And Jessica says, to create a corporation in Panama, do I already have to be living there, or can I operate it from the U.S. until I relocate to Panama? So you can create a corporation in Panama and you can operate it before you move here. But let me tell you, you probably don't want to do that let me tell you why. Once you know, there's going to be the cost of setting up the corporation, which is going to be $1,000 to $1,400, depending on which attorney that you use. But also with your corporation, there's annual renewal fees, $300 for the corporation, about $100 for the registered agent for the corporation. Also, your corporation has to file an annual tax return. Even if it had no income, it has to file an annual tax return. When you have to use a certified CPA in Panama to do that, so you're looking at another $500 to do that. And then if it does actually have income, you have to file a Panama tax return. You may have to pay into Social Security if you have employees. So, and don't set up a corporation until you get here and you're actually going to use it, because it's just going to be a money pit. There's so many things that you have to keep on paying for every single year when you have a corporation. Why is David not widely promoted as a relocation destination like Coquete? We actually visit David whenever you come on a Panama relocation court. We visit David. We take people to a shopping center there. Sometimes we show a rental in that area. So we do go to David during the tour. The reason people don't like living there, some people don't like living there, is because it's really hot. Other people love the heat, but some people don't like the heat. By the way, let me take a quick break and make a quick announcement of one other thing that was on my list to tell you about. So as I told you, we have a medical billing company that has come to Panama that has signed contracts with some of the hospitals here in Panama to handle all their medical billing for things like Medicare Advantage, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Aetna, TRICARE, F&P, and other things, so that when you go to the hospital, you just show your insurance card and you don't have to prepay. They do all the billing for you. We get so many questions about, well, what about this insurance? What about that insurance? Well, how does this work? And, you know, how does the billing work? Do I have any out-of-pocket expenses? And, you know, I know the answers to some of those questions, but I don't know all the answers to those questions. So this Saturday at 5 o'clock, I've invited the owner of the billing company to be on a live stream. So you'll look on our YouTube channel, you see the one that says Direct Billing Explained. So he's going to join us to answer your questions about which insurance, how does it work? You know, some insurances have an out-of-pocket expense. So what you would do if you go there, you're going to give them your insurance card. The first thing the hospital has to do, they have to get what's called a verification of benefits. The verification of benefits shows, well, they have insurance that covers them overseas up to $500,000 or $25,000 or whatever, and that, you know, they have to pay $100 if they go to the emergency room, or they have to pay $50 a day if they are admitted to the hospital. Some insurances say they have zero out-of-pocket expenses. Every insurance is different. So the hospital is going to get a verification of benefits. Anything that your insurance doesn't cover, you're going to have to pay for. But the billing company bills for everything else. But that's just a quick overview. but I'm going to have the owner of the billing company on this Saturday's live stream. So make sure and join us for that, because if you have any questions about Medicare Advantage, TRICARE, FMP, Blue Cross Blue Shield, or any of those other things, he can answer your questions much better than I can. So could you please explain what Medicare Advantage offers in Panama? I've heard that they are not particularly good in the US. So Medicare Advantage covers urgent care and emergencies in Panama. So if you have a heart attack and they need to do bypass surgery, that's $40,000 in Panama, but it's covered 100% here with Medicare Advantage. If you get in an automobile accident and you have, broken hip, broken bones, broken shoulder, all kinds of different things, that could be $50,000, $60,000 in Panama. But if you have Medicare Advantage, it's covered in Panama. If you just have Medicare, it's not covered in Panama. So you decide if it's worth it. If you're going to live in Panama, Medicare won't do you any good. It doesn't cover anything. What are my thoughts about Cerro Punta? So my thoughts, honestly, you guys know, not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Cerro Punta is absolutely beautiful. I've been there many, many times, visited friends that lived there many times. Me personally, I would not want to live there. And the reason I wouldn't want to live in Cerro Punta is because they grow like 85% of the vegetables that are grown in Panama are grown in Cerro Punta. However, in Cerro Punta, it's not organic. So they do a lot of spraying, pesticides and insecticides and all those kind of things, which are the particles are floating around in the air, which means you're breathing it. And for me personally, I wouldn't want to be exposed to those chemicals. So even though it's beautiful, I wouldn't want to live there for that reason. I thought we were going to start at 5. So we were going to start at 5, but I got like 100 emails from people saying, I live in California. I don't even get off work until 5, so that I have to miss every single Q&A. Please, please, please have it start at 7. So I caved in and we're doing it at 7. So now a big decision to make is to avoid the confusion is I'm doing the Q&A on Wednesday at 7 o'clock Central, and then I do the interview with an expat or someone on Saturday at 5. So you guys let me know. Would you rather that I have both of them at 7 p.m. so there's no confusion, or is it okay to do Wednesday at 7 and Saturday at 5? Let me know your thoughts. You can send an email to info@PanamaRelocationTours.com or just post the comments in the chat. Peter wants to know what would be the best way to research what towns or areas in Cherokee Province offer fiber optic. So the best way to research that is there's 2 main providers for fiber optic in Panama. One is called Tigo, T-I-G-O. So if you search Tigo Panama internet, it'll take you to their website. It shows you their service area. The other one is called Masmovil. That's MASMOVIL. Once again, search Masmovil Panama internet. It shows you their service area. And just to let you know, if you're in an area that doesn't have fiber optic, but you want to have a faster internet speed, and there's trade-offs. Sometimes the most beautiful place that you want to live, gorgeous views and everything, it doesn't have fiber optic. Solution that a lot of people are doing is they're getting Starlink in that area, which provides really good service. So can I put my email in the chat line? I wouldn't advise putting your email in the chat line, Carol. Even though a lot of the people on here, 395 people, they're here every single Wednesday we just don't know who all's here, so it's better not to share too much personal information. If I offer software consulting services to only U.S. clients while working from Panama, is that allowed? So you need to consult with your attorney because there are some restrictions on software consulting, but you need to talk to your attorney. You can also look at that professional visa website the article that I have about the professional visa. I have a link to all the protected professions. And have your attorney review that and then talk to you about whether or not you could offer consulting on that. Will I be safe in my e-trike just around town in Volcan? In Volcan, you'll be fine on an e-trike. There's not that much traffic, and they have sidewalks and bike paths that you can ride on, so you don't have to be out on the main road. In Boquete, if you asked me that about Boquete, I'd say no. But in Volcan, you'll be just fine. Is it possible to live without Spanish language? Not easy to learn at my age. I understand it's much harder to learn as you get older. And the answer is it depends on where you live. Some areas that have a higher concentration of expats, you can get by just fine without Spanish because a lot of people are going to speak English. Other areas where there aren't that many expats, you're going to need to learn more Spanish. So I see someone put a Q up here. So Ray, the format here is you put 3 question marks in front of it, then I know it's a question, but I figured Q meant it was a question. So do you have to have a certain amount of money in your savings account to live in Panama? If so, how much? You do not need a certain amount of money in your savings account. To qualify for a residency visa, if you're going to get the pensionado visa, you have to have at least $1,000 a month in lifetime income. And you don't have to put it in an account in Panama. You just have to have show that you have $1,000 a month in military retirement, Social Security, your CCP, or whatever it's called in Canada. And that's all you need. So there's no savings requirement. Mark wants to know, does it make sense to have someone with power of attorney in the U.S. and one in Panama, or would that cause a conflict? So someone with a power of attorney that's issued in the United States would not be valid in Panama. For a power of attorney to be valid in Panama, it has to be someone in Panama. Your attorney is someone that you could give that to, or someone that you trust in Panama, and then your attorney in Panama can create that power of attorney. But a U.S. power of attorney, U.S. will, U.S. trust, all those things are not valid in Panama. And Mark wants to know, a lot of the Caribbean does not allow camo type clothing. What about Panama? You see it all the time in Panama. There's stores here where they sell it. So I've never heard that one before. You can wear it in Panama, no problems. So Danny wants to know, on the topic of crop spraying, any other places to avoid like that? So the other places to avoid like that would be, there are certain areas, just as you're entering the Azora Peninsula, I would say between Chitre and Las Tablas, on the sides of the roads, they grow a lot of sugarcane in those areas. And the sugarcane is another thing that is sprayed a lot. But even more importantly, at the end of the season, whenever they've harvested it, they burn the fields. So when they burn the fields, there's going to be a lot of smoke, and I wouldn't want to breathe that. There's all kinds of bad particles that are in that you don't want to be breathing. Will the Google Voice number work when a company sends an authorization code? Yes, it does. Do you need to be drawing Social Security to get a visa, or just show the award letter? You have to have actually already received at least one payment from Social Security for you to be able to apply for a pensionado visa. And John says, should I take all my visa application docs to the Panama consulate for authentication at the same time, 2 months prior to leaving, and mail them ahead to the attorney? That's a very good idea, to take all your documents at the same time to the Panama consulate. And if you just take a self-addressed stamped envelope like DHL or FedEx, the consulate will forward that on to your attorney for you. You don't even have to do that. So I know there's a lot more questions that everybody has. I'm going to get to a couple more, but just let me tell you that if I didn't get to your question, then if you would please send an email to info, at PanamaRelocationTours.com, and I'll answer it there. because questions are coming in so fast, I can't possibly get to all of them. So if I didn't get to your question, just send an email to info, INFO, at PanamaRelocationTours.com. I'll pop it up on the screen in a little bit. So Bill says, if one chooses to live in the Coronado San Carlos area, where is the nearest emergency hospital, its name and distance? So there's a public hospital in San Carlos. I don't know the name of it. If you do a search for San Carlos Hospital, I'm sure it'll come up. And if that sometimes it's completely full and you can have a really long wait, the next closest one would be a public hospital in Panama, which is going to be 40-minute drive. Or if you want a private hospital, you're going to have to go all the way to Panama City, which is a 2-hour drive. Peter says, on that information on pesticides and vegetables, are organic supplies still available in Volcan? So yes, in Volcan, in Boquete, in several places in Panama, they do grow organic vegetables, and that's what I buy, is only organic vegetables. I also insist that any meat that I buy has no hormones, no antibiotics, that it's just natural. So those things are definitely available. But if you go to the grocery store and you see a bunch of things and it says Cerro Punta, know that it has a lot of chemicals on it. Might look beautiful and be a great price, but everybody can make their own decisions. Personally, I won't eat it. So Peter says, on that info on pesticides, same question. Social Security has a button you can hit for proof of income. Is that all we need? So if you only get that, if you get proof of income, then that's not going to be all you need. You can either take that to the Social Security office and request that they sign it and say that this is valid. If you don't want to do that, if you don't want to go to the Social Security office, then you're going to have to attach an affidavit to it. And we have sample affidavits in the online Panama Relocation Guide. The affidavit basically says, I swear that this Social Security payment of $1,357 is a lifetime income that I'll receive for the rest of my life. You have to sign that in front of a notary, attach it to your proof of income, then you can get that authenticated by the Panama Consulate. If you go to the Social Security office and they give you proof of income, it'll be signed, then you can skip the whole part about the affidavit. Bess wants to know, is there opportunity to work at a stable to care for horses in Boquete? Nope, I don't know. We do have an equestrian center, but there's no horses there anymore. So not so much. In Cerro Punta, there's a big horse farm up there. There might be some opportunities in Cerro Punta, but I don't know of anything in Boquete. And Jessica says, how does a professional visa work? So the professional visa is a visa that is available to people that have a college degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, that's in a profession that's not one of the protected professions. And if you have that college degree, if you look at that article, we have a list of documents that you have to gather to give to your attorney, along with a check for $500. All of that sent to the University of Panama. They verify your degree. And then if it's approved, then you can apply for a visa just based on having a professional visa. You can also get a work permit with that. But the whole process for it could take up to a year for you to get the visa. What are bicycle-friendly towns in Cherokee? So the most bicycle-friendly town in Cherokee would be Volcan. They have bike paths, really nice sidewalks. There's not a lot of traffic. Or there are blood banks in Panama. Some hospitals have a blood bank, some hospitals don't. Just an example, somebody needed to have emergency surgery about 2 weeks ago, and they went to unfortunately, they went to a hospital that wasn't they had Medicare Advantage, but they didn't go to the hospital that accepts it with no prepay. So they went to a different hospital. The hospital wanted $27,000 up front for their surgery. And they were putting out calls for, we need 3 pints of O+ blood or whatever. So the husband contacted me and asked me to put out the word to all of the PRT clients to say, that they needed blood. And by the way, here, if you're over 65, you can't donate blood. Maybe that's the rule everywhere. I don't know. But I said, did you know that Hospital Cherokee has a blood bank? Tell the doctor to call Hospital Cherokee. They might have the blood that you need. So the doctor called the other hospital and they had it. But the fact that I knew that and the doctor didn't know that is a little bit concerning. And it's one of the reasons why the billing department isn't working with that one hospital. Jaden says, if you start a business, do your employees have to be Panamanian residents? They don't have to all be Panamanian residents, and you may not necessarily want to have employees. But it might be better to have your attorney draw up an independent contractor agreement, because the rules are different for both of them. It depends on if they work full-time or if they just work once in a while, as to which one you would do. This is going to be my last question for the night. So Ray says, can you get an apartment building that's $600 in a decent, safe area? And do apartments have contracts, or can you just do month to month? So I'm sure that there are some apartments that have month to month. You're not going to get an apartment for $600 in a nice area in Panama City. But if you go to David, you could get a nice apartment in a nice area for $600 all day long. Same thing if you go to Panama, if you go to Chitre, if you go to Santiago. So there's many places here where you could get a decent, safe area for $600, but not in Panama City. So I hope you guys learned something new during our Move to Panama Q&A. Man, this 1 hour goes by really fast with so many questions. I don't know how many questions I answered, but it seems like more than usual this time. I know some of you are going to be a little bit disappointed because I didn't get to your question. All you have to do is send an email to, let me put it up here, info@PanamaRelocationTours.com. Just send an email to info@PanamaRelocationTours.com and I'll answer it there by email. Or if it can wait, you can save it till next Wednesday when I'll be here, same time, same place, answering questions again. Thank you so much for being here on the live stream. I hope you learned something new. Remember, on Saturday, join us for the live stream when I'm going to interview the owner of the billing company. So if any of you have a U.S. insurance and you're wondering, how's it going to work with this, where I don't have to prepay and I don't have to file the claim myself, but get the information from the horse's mouth, because the owner of the company that handles the billing is going to be on our live stream on Saturday. So make sure you're there and share it with your friends that live here in Panama that might be curious about that information also. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. Good night.